My name is Cassy Summers. Welcome to the Curious Universe podcast. Welcome to the Curious Universe podcast. Today we will be exploring together patience. Now, patience for you might be something that comes easily. It might be something that you struggle with, and it could be something that in certain areas you have a lot more patience, and in others you just don't have patience. Patience is a really powerful elemental that you can add to anything that will allow it to grow. So let's explore here today how you could be utilizing patience in your life to create something greater for you. So I'm sure that at some point in your life, you've heard the term patience, be patient. I think this really happens a lot when we're kids because we're excited and we want stuff like instantaneously. And then it's like, be patient. Where's your patience? And that's where it starts to show up as almost this, as though patience is a way to acknowledge how slow things are, as though patience is supposed to stop you from desiring to go faster and go further and have more. But what if patience wasn't any of that stuff? Yeah. So what if you weren't trapped by patience? What if patience wasn't boring? Wow. What if patience wasn't any of these really limiting concepts that can create a ton of frustration? So everything that is, and everywhere you've connected patience and frustration and waiting and boring all together, where you glommed and glom them, will you destroy and uncreate that times a godzillion, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and pod, all 100, shorts, boys, pelvis, creation, species, and beyonds. That, my friend, is the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. If you're new to the show or you've never heard me say that, I use it all the time. It is essentially a tool that we could use to clear our energy. So I bring up this energy and then I go, everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it? And if you say yes, you know how to say it out loud. That clearing statement actually clears out the energy. How cool is that? And then we start to have more space and freedom to choose different things in our lives. If you want more information, please go to theclearingstatement.com. That's about all the explanation I'm going into today. And there's always a link in the description. If you want to check it out, clearing statement, it's magic. All right, back to patience. So what if a wizard has infinite patience and never stops? So you could have infinite patience, but you never have to stop and wait. Dun, dun, dun. Doesn't that sound like a lot more fun? Anything that does not allow that times a godzillion, will you destroy it and grade it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, pod, all 100, shorts, boys, pelvis, creation, species, and yes. This goes back to where, and often it's in childhood, but it could have been for you at another time, where patience is kind of attached to this stop, be patient, stop, wait, stop, 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 stop. So then we kind of powerful, potent wizards, us beings that want to go out and change the world and we want to have everything yesterday. Patience is the last thing that we want to be inviting into our lives. It's the last priority on our list to have patience. But what if patience was actually something totally different? What if patience was an elemental of consciousness that when added to something allows it to grow? So how do we get like a little bit more pragmatic with this, or how can you conceptualize this? Well, let's keep talking. So here we are with asks of the universe. Okay. So Sorry, I have to touch these flowers. They're so cute. Maybe they want to be on screen with me. And every once in a while, I just gotta pet them. I pet them like they're little pets because they're so pretty. Okay, here's a great example. We're gonna use nature. So if you plant seeds, it's spring. You've cleaned up all the stuff, you've laid down some fertile soil, and then you plant seeds. And if you didn't have patience for the seeds to germinate and then sprout and then grow, what would happen to all of the flowers or the crops or the stuff that you are hoping to grow? You might dig up the seed and see, is it working? You might abandon it, being like, okay, fine, I guess you're not going to grow because it didn't happen instantaneously. There are certain things that, what if they require that germination period? They require um, space to develop and to grow and bloom for you. If you add patience to that, then so much more can show up for you, like beautiful flowers and crops and so many things. Bring this into, sorry, bring this into your world now, like your life. Like here's actually, it's very pragmatic because you might actually be sowing your garden soon. Like it's spring. You might not have a garden, and that might not be something that you're interested in. But let's say it was an ask of the universe. Okay. So you ask something of the universe, and that's when you plant. The universe is fertile. It's fertile soil. Okay. It's got all the elements of everything that you will ever need are already in existence. And you plant that seed when you create that ask. So one way to ask of the universe is just what would it take? Fill in the blank. Okay. So what would it take for me to be a multimillionaire? What would it take for my classes to have 1,000 or more participants in them with total ease? What would it take for me to find a really sexy, uh, kind, joyful playmate to spend the rest of my life with? What would it take for me to, get pregnant? Just popped up. And okay, so whoever that's for, what would it take for me to get pregnant? I don't want to get pregnant, body, you know that. What would it take for, so all these things you could ask, what would it take for this to show up with total ease? And that's you requesting of the universe. And you're engaging with the universe to assist you because, you are the source for your life, but it will assist you in actualizing everything that you're generating and creating in that ask. Okay. So let's play with, what can we play with? Hmm. Okay, let's say you had a wow ask. So maybe it's a trip that you've always wanted to take. Maybe it is that life partner. Maybe it's something with your body, like something just really like if it showed up in the next 6 months, you'd be like, wow, like in awe of it. Okay. So choose something like that. All right. Now, let's say you ask for it today and it does not show up tomorrow. And then it doesn't show up the next day. And then it doesn't show up the next day. And it does not show up the next day. This is the seed that you planted. And now, if you didn't have patience, you would start to, could be a few things. You could start to get frustrated. Why isn't this growing? Why can't I see the sprouts yet? You might lose hope. Okay, well, I guess this didn't work. Guess there's nothing there. You might actually start to fight against and dig up the seed to see what's wrong. You might be like destroying your ask in all of this energy. There's a whole bunch of things that you might be doing, and none of those things in this kind of havoc energy are going to allow and support the actualization of that ask. Now, if you applied patience to it, so you bring up again that ask, and you're just let's just try and create everywhere you've been destroying your ask. Okay. all the wow asks that you have put in with the universe, you put in your order with the universe that you have been um, destroying, wreaking havoc on, or messing with. Will you destroy it and create that, please? Times a gazillion, right, wrong, good, bad, POC, bot, all 100 shorts, boys, pop outs, creations, bases, and meatlots. Okay. So now just insert how much patience would I have to insert here for this to show up faster than I ever imagined possible. Now, do you get that there's no energy of stop. There's no energy of even waiting. It's actually the energy of patience actually seems to speed things up. Do you notice that when you're waiting for something, the water to boil, the flower to bloom, but you also have a lot of other things going on that suddenly it will show up even faster than you thought. Like, oh my God, the water's already boiling. Oh wow, there's already flowers blooming. What's happening? Like, that's early. Perhaps that is that energy of patience, allowing everything to have the space it requires to actualize. So that's this energy of patience is this it's a willingness to allow it to show up without an expectation of when it should show up. So in a sense, you could you could really have so many things going on, so many things coming to fruition, to bloom, to actualization, and you're not going crazy for it to show up when you've decided it needs to show up. Patience allows that space. And a lot of these really big things that you might be asking for require more space to show up. They might require you to change. They might require more awareness. They might require the whole universe to rearrange and change for you. And patience allows for that space without a point of view. And what if applying patience actually allows what you've generated with your request, with your ask, to show up faster than you ever imagined possible? Now, I know I'm kind of talking about something that might feel like it is the opposite of what it appears to be. So, a lot of us have been taught that, like, when you focus on something, like that will get it done, or that will that will push it to be faster. And there are some circumstances where that could be true. But most of the time, the more you kind of like actually go into concentricity on something, you are contracting it. And when you contract something and make it denser, it does not move faster. Crazy, huh? Like an ice cube. Like if you freeze the water, I mean, I don't know, maybe on a microscopic level, maybe it is still moving. I don't know. But it's definitely not moving faster when you contract it into a different state, right? When you if like okay, now I'm getting all these like food pictures in my head. It's almost like um you have like like maybe it's a wall and you have like honey dripping down, right? Honey. And if the honey is kind of like cold, right? So it's like, and that's the contraction. So cold will make things kind of contract. So it's kind of contracting and it's moving down. But if you then next to it, maybe you warmed up some honey, a little stovetop, and then you pour it down and it will glide down so quickly, right? The more space you give it, the faster it will be. The more movement it has and the more capacity it has to become the bigness that it is. Because that's the thing is that these wow asks, they're big asks. You're not asking for, what would it take for my favorite ice cream to be on sale? I mean, Hopefully you are asking for that because that's always fun when it's on sale. But that's not your wow ask. Your wow ask is huge, right? Your wow ask is like, wow, wow. Like if it showed up, you would be in awe of it. So giving it space to actualize will allow it to be faster. Contracting with no patience, feeling like you're waiting, you stopped. That starts to create a density and a contraction around your ask, which makes it take longer. Everything is opposite appears to be, nothing is the opposite appears to be. So I know certain people that use force to get people or things moving. So say you're horseback riding. Um, every time I've ridden, I'm not saying like a ton of horses, but I've ridden enough horses to have had variety. And every horse that I've ever been with, when I want them to move, it is such a subtle, I'm like whether they're sounds, like some of them are trained by sound, some are trained by movement, like just a little squeeze or a little like giddy up, and they're moving. Other people are taking the switch and hitting their horse, right? They're using force. They're yelling at it. Maybe they're whipping the reins. I hate that. Sorry, maybe you do that, but I hate that. Right, get back on all 100 shirts, boys, Bubba's creations, Macy's and meows. Okay, so and because it's worked in some area, we think it works everywhere. We think, okay, I'm going to use force, or maybe your parents used force on you to get you to do things or to get you up and moving. Maybe you were like having a lazy Sunday and they wanted you to clean the house and they used like yelling and screaming and force to get you moving. And so then you bought, okay, this is what I need to do. This is how I get things moving. And there's no sense of patience in that. No. You can really quickly whip together a dinner. I mean, I'm a single mom. I've whipped together dinners in like faster than you ever imagined possible. And they're okay and they're fine and they work and it's good for when you need to do it. When I had the space to like really curate a meal and I'm being present with it, and maybe I'm like, kind of playing with the energies of it. I'm speaking to the food. I'm speaking to the bodies that are going to be eating the food. I could make those same exact meals. And the one that I have patience infused in is so much more delicious. The bodies just tend to receive more from it. And I received more from the whole experience. Now, apply those to your asks, okay? Apply this to, and it could be asks of the universe, but you could also just apply this to like different aspects of your life. Like maybe um, there's a project you've been working on and you feel like it shouldn't be taking this long. I have that. I get that because I'm a really fast person. And so when things aren't fast, it almost like creates a cognitive dissonance for me because I'm like, what happened? Like, why is this taking so long? Now, apply patience, making that meal, communicating with whatever the project is. Maybe that project needs a longer time to marinate. Maybe there's like different things coming in that you're not aware of yet until they show up. Maybe there's a person missing or an energy missing. But if you like allow for that space and have that presence, which is not the same as force. Presence is not the same as concentricity where you're focusing on something. Presence is just you being you. Hi, and really present with whatever this is. Okay, so let's do that together. Let's do a little exercise. Um, get something that you would like to either be moving faster or showing up faster. So it's something that's already kind of here. Maybe it could be a court case. It could be a creation. It could be a project. Okay. Something that you're like, okay, I would really like this to be moving faster. And then get a sense of something that, or get a sense of like an ask of the universe. Like, what would it take for, you know, me to be a multimillionaire? Okay. And now just be present with it. It's lowering your barriers, being with it. Hi. And then maybe have a little conversation, a little energetic chat, but not from a result, not in is if I talk to this, then it's going to speed up, but just like, hey, do you require anything? You require anything from me? How's it going? See how I'm not asking for what would take for you to speed up? I'm actually just being here with it because I'm I'm engaging with the elemental of patience with this right now and allowing that patience to come in and really infuse with everything that I'm creating here. Okay. Hmm. You might notice like your body actually relaxing the more you're being the elemental of patience, the more you're engaging with this energy of patience. What if it didn't have to show up tomorrow? What if it will be greater if it shows up in a year from now or 4 years from now? And now, for some of you, if it is a project or as if something, you might have like all these things linked to it, and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait. And your mind might be kind of racing. I can't wait a year. Da, da, da. Hey, it's all, it knows what's required. And the universe knows all the things that are required. So you don't have to figure it out. You don't have to think at it. It's just about actually giving it space and allowing yourself to be the patience that's required for this to actualize with ease. And everywhere you've been destroying this with your lack of patience, will you destroy and create that, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100 shorts, boys, poets, creations, spaces, and beyond. Okay, a little bit more. What patience can you be with this? What presence can you be with this that would allow you to be patient? Cool. And just notice what you notice. And if you had that patience with everything, what if everything sped up and you didn't have to stop? Because being patient with these flowers, you got to make sure you got enough things going on that you're not only waiting for the flowers, right? So like what else do you need to add to your life right away so you can be the patience you truly be? If you only planted one seed and you're waiting for that one seed to sprout and bloom for you, then how much of your energy is actually focused and contracting on that one thing? But if you had 10,000 seeds and maybe they all had different sprouting times, how much joy and pleasure could you have as you embrace the patience of the adventure of your life? You know that saying, good things come to those who wait. I want to change that because a lot of people, when they're waiting, they've stopped. You don't need to stop. What if miraculous things come to those that are willing to be patient? So would you be willing to have a little more patience today, whether it's with the people around you, with yourself, the projects you've been working on, your asks of the universe or God or whoever? What if you could have a lot more patience for all of that? Thank you so much for joining me here on the Curious Universe podcast, where we melt the structures of reality so you can create and have your own miraculous reality. And be patient with that too. See you in the next episode. Bye for now. Thank you for exploring the Curious Universe with me. Your curiosity matters. And what if together we could create a greater, more curious world?